Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday morning. I certainly am, if you can see this wonderful bedhead I've got going here. And I'm here to respond to the video Chris Stuckman just made about the state of film criticism and Lights, Camera, Jackson. Now I've wanted to make a video about Lights, Camera, Jackson for quite some time now, but I haven't, mainly because I feel like I would just make it some angry rant, and you know that if you've seen my rant videos that I have a tendency to fall into that quite easily. But after watching Chris Stuckman's incredible video where he just provided such a fair and non-derogatory argument, I really want to follow in his footsteps, because that guy really inspires me. And after I move the camera down, much better, we will get right into this. Now I'm going to be perfectly honest. I do find this kid to be extremely irritating, but I'm not going to rant on and on about that, because that's not fair. My first main argument for why this kid bothers me is the position he's in. This kid is on the news. Granted, it's not national news, but it's news nevertheless. And I don't care if you're Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, Tom Chattelbash, these people put incredible work into their channel. Not just with a wealth of videos every single week, but just putting such thought and depth and analysis into it, and still making it fun for the audience. And I just don't feel like this kid deserves as much fame and attention as they do. And that's just because, unlike those people, this kid just has such a narrow view on film. And that's not a bad thing, because he's just a little kid, but it just doesn't deserve the spotlight that it gets. I'm going to use an example no one's used yet, and that's his review of Thor. He first says that he likes the scenes on Earth better than the scenes on Asgard, which is a fine opinion. But he says that the reason he didn't like the scenes on Asgard was because that he was getting Clash of the Titans flashbacks, because it centered on gods and Thor and his father and their relationships and whatnot. And that's his only explanation. However, there's just an insurmountable amount of difference between Thor and Clash of the Titans if you really sit down and think about it. Clash of the Titans was so half-assedly made and so just marginally assembled all together. And the relationship between him and his Perseus and his father was just such an afterthought. In fact, I think they only shared 1 or 2 scenes together. In Thor, there's a similar situation, however, Asgard is such a beautifully assembled world, and you really get a sense of what that place is like, while still leaving the mystery of what could be going on outside of the world. And while Thor and his father don't share that many scenes together, unlike in Clash of the Titans, you get a sense of their entire relationship just because of the amazing acting of Chris Hemsworth and Anthony Hopkins. And that's just one of the things, I just don't think this kid really thinks about his reviews. He just says what he sees, as Chris Stuckman said. He then goes on to say that Hemsworth does not have the wit or the charm of Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man. Now, this is a trap that I think a few people have fallen into with the Marvel movies, but this kid especially. Not every Marvel superhero movie has to be Iron Man. Chris Hemsworth, if you look at his performance, he gave such a wonderful performance in that movie, especially for a first-time actor. Not only did he just breathe such a life and bravado into that character, which is why I don't understand why he doesn't have the charm, because that guy just has pure bravado throughout that entire movie. And it doesn't have to be a snarky comment for every superhero. That guy is just such an incredible screen presence. And I can't imagine, if he had actually maybe read some comic books or even done some research into what Thor is, he would have seen why Chris Hemsworth fit that role like the best glove you have ever seen. An ironclad gold glove if there ever was one. He then goes on to say that the action scenes are long and loud, which is just not true. Not only are all the action scenes in Thor very minimal in length, but they all are key parts of the story and serve the story magnificently. There's only 3 set pieces in Thor, if I remember correctly. There's the fight with the Ice Giants, there's the fight with the Destroyer, and the fight with Loki at the end. And the rest of a nearly 2-hour film is just characters and build-up and showing this god of thunder who's just been living such this over-the-top life of hubris become someone with humility. And that's just a fascinating character journey. But he doesn't see that. He just sees a man who's giving a performance, and he doesn't look at the characters and what the film is trying to do. And that just really frustrates me, but that narrow of a view on that film is getting that much exposure. And the other problem I have with this kid is not even his fault, it's just the situation he's in, where the news anchors or whoever he's on with is always so patronizing towards him. They're always just like, aren't you adorable because you have an opinion, and you're 11 or 13, however old he is. It's just like they don't take him seriously, and they shouldn't, but it's just exposing him as someone who's being patronized and being used simply as a gimmick. And I don't feel like that's fair to him or the viewers of the news station that watch it, because Lord knows there could be someone who actually really needs a movie review on that news station, and when they see this little kid, they're just going to be very disappointed. And I feel like there's so many other critics who would flourish in that type of environment, and they're just not given it. And that's what mainly frustrates me. And finally, I would just like to say what I find personally insulting about this. I'm a young film critic too. Granted, I'm older than him, but I am still fairly young. And when I see this, it just maddens me, because ever since I was born, I've lived and breathed movies. It's just been my passion throughout my whole life. And I've watched so many of them, and they've gotten me through tough times where I had no friends, and the only thing I could look forward to every week was going to the movies and seeing what the filmmakers have come up with every week. And that's just really got me through a whole lot. And it's what I want to do with my life, because I hope that one day I can make a movie that gets someone through a hard time. That's one of my goals in life. And when I see this kid, I just see someone who's just the stereotypical kid pandering to adults, and I feel like he's just trying to get attention more so than he's trying to give an honest criticism on a movie, and that it just kind of makes me angry. It really does. It's just, there are just so many better people who deserve a spot on the news, and I don't know. I feel like we're all being personally insulted by this kid, even though it's not directly his fault. And I just really hope he's not giving all of us young film critics a bad name. Because what would kill me is if I saw someone who looked at my videos and said, he's probably just like that Lights, Camera, Jackson guy, and I'm not going to watch him. That would just, it would make me just furious. And I really hope that's not the case. So what should we do about him? I say just get him off TV and have him do his own YouTube channel, so families can watch him while still not getting the national attention that he does not deserve. So that's my opinion on Lights, Camera, Jackson. I hope you enjoyed it and found it to be a fair video. If you did enjoy it, I hope you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'm Movie Kid Mike, making sure your time is worth your money.